You may have heard of a guy named LeBron James. He is a pretty good basketball player if I do say so myself. He has created an empire solely off his skills on the basketball court, becoming one of the most influential people on the planet, let alone as a sports superstar. Of course, any businessman is going to have a team around them, people who specialize in specific fields with different sets of expertise. In LeBron's case, one of the people at the forefront of his success is Rich Paul. Paul is the founder of prominent sports agency Clutch Sports Group. He represents a plethora of NBA stars such as LeBron James, Anthony Davis, John Wall, Draymond Green, and Ben Simmons. And seeing how much money these guys have gotten on their recent contracts, excluding Anthony Davis as he's not hit free agency yet, you can see that Rich Paul is pretty good at his job. So what connection does the NCAA have with their new rule and Clutch Sports? Well, first of all, what is this new rule? An underclassman that is testing the waters of the NBA draft can seek services from an agent and retain their eligibility to go back to school if they so choose. But the agent must have a certain set of credentials. The agent must have a bachelor's degree, be certified with the NBPA, the Players Association, for at least 3 years, and pass an in-person exam at the NCAA office in Indianapolis. So, what exactly have NCAA done here? Well, they are clearly trying to gain more control on their athletes. The NCAA have seen how the one-and-done rule has shown these top athletes the diminishing value of college for their respective careers. This isn't me saying that a college education is not important in general. I mean, I'm in college right now. But for these top athletes who have ambitions to play in the NBA, they see the 1 year in college as a pit stop before the NBA draft. If more and more players are leaving college early to enter the NBA draft, what does this say about the colleges? They are depicted as roadblocks, not places to advance your career. So, the NCAA can't create long-lasting faces to their brand because they are gone after their first season. If an agent approaches a top player in college basketball and shows them how much more they can gain from entering the NBA, the endorsements and money they couldn't get in college, the NCAA suffers as a result. Agents are trying to get to these athletes as early as possible, and because they can't enter the NBA from high school, they approach the players while they are in college. Let's quickly look at some charts showing how much the one-and-done rule has affected players' draft decisions. The one-and-done rule was implemented in 2006. This chart illustrates how many one-and-done players were drafted after 2006. Admittedly, the numbers were scattered from 2007 to 2013, but it still shows many more players being drafted after 1 year in college compared to before 2006. Since 2014, the numbers have steadily gone up. Bad news for the NCAA. What do all these numbers implicate in the big picture? Basically, the NCAA will lose money because of agents approaching the top players after their first year in college. So, this shows the motivation behind implementing these new guidelines. But why has Rich Paul's name been attached to this specific rule change? In terms of credentials, what makes Rich Paul different? Well, he doesn't have a college degree. And seeing how his 12 clients have combined a total of $625 million across their contracts, Paul displays how one can achieve success in the sports world without a degree. Not just that though. Rich Paul also did something this past year that the NCAA definitely didn't appreciate. After this rule was introduced, you may have started hearing the name Darius Bazley. He was drafted 23rd overall in the 2019 NBA draft. Bazley is represented by Clutch Sports, by Rich Paul. Before Bazley had met with Clutch Sports, he was a 5-star recruit out of high school who had committed to Syracuse. However, after his last season in high school, he decided he was going to go straight to the G League and forego college. He then decided to not go to the G League and instead take an internship with New Balance worth $1 million. The $1 million was folded into a shoe contract with New Balance, which could be worth up to $14 million in performance incentives. This deal has shown how much of a visionary Rich Paul is, and how much influence he has in the basketball landscape. Clutch Sports have shown to be very influential in the NBA as well, as seen with the Anthony Davis situation. So it makes sense that college athletes would listen closely if Clutch Sports came knocking at their door. Why would Bazley take such a strange deal? It's possible that Bazley cannot wait an extra year to reap the financial benefits of his talents in the NBA. What if he got injured in a college game and was never the same again? That money could be vital to the well-being of his entire family. So, Rich Paul thought outside of the box and got Baisley a deal he couldn't refuse. The possibility of high school players foregoing college has been something we have been hearing for the past few years, as more one-and-done players get drafted. Even LeVar Ball tried to make a league designed specifically for high school players to forego college. Of course, we know how that turned out, but if someone with real business experience decides to build a league to emulate the JBA's vision, it could be massively successful. This scares the NCAA. Rich Paul has shown how it is more beneficial than ever for players to forego college and join an international league for a year, or do something like Darius Baisley did, hence why this rule has been dubbed the Rich Paul rule. The NCAA responded to the backlash they were receiving with this statement. The gist of the statement essentially says that the NCAA wants to further emphasize the importance of continuing education. The motivating factor for the NCAA to come up with these new rules came from the Commission on College Basketball, saying that the NCAA should be more stringent with their processes. Interestingly, the statement says how they benchmarked their new requirements with other requirements from other organizations that certify agents, such as the NBPA. And if you look at the NBPA website, they say that you need a bachelor's degree to be recognized. So how is Rich Paul certified by the Players Association if he does not have a degree? I'm genuinely curious, but I'm just going to assume that this degree requirement was added after Rich Paul had been an agent in the league. Anyway, back on topic. This new rule would not really affect Rich Paul, especially since he has not shown to be an agent who goes after college players, only NBA stars. What this rule is really trying to do is scare players who are testing the waters of the NBA draft. This rule is for players who want to hire an agent and still have the opportunity to retain college eligibility if they go undrafted. If the player hires an agent who does not fit the NCAA criteria and he goes undrafted, he forfeits his college eligibility. Essentially, another way for the NCAA to control their players' futures. As stated before, this rule is not to solely stop Rich Paul, but I can see why he is tied into this ruling. However, what he has shown with his management of Darius Baisley sets a precedent that does not align with the NCAA's goals of increased profit. The organization wants to control their players and squeeze as much revenue as possible before they leave. The only way we see this ruling becoming irrelevant is if the NBA removes the one and done rule and allows high school players to enter the draft. Once that happens, the Rich Paul rule would become largely irrelevant, as it would allow the best high school talent to forego college, as well as allow the NCAA to market players who actually want to be in college. Hey guys, I just wanted to leave a quick message at the end of the video. I know the videos I have put out so far have been predominantly baseball, apart from the NBA Supermax video. I just wanted to put it out there that this channel is not going to be talking about one specific sport. My vision for this channel is to talk about a plethora of different sports, all sports that I love, and anything sports related that I find interesting. To be honest, before the NCAA introduced this new rule, I was planning to make a soccer video. I do have to confess that I may put out baseball videos more often because I like talking about baseball the most. So if you want to stick around, I would appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you.